Hi guys, good morning. In case you're kind of curious and wondering where the heck am I doing this from, I'm in my classroom at the high school. School hasn't started yet, so I had a little time to do this. So hopefully this won't be too long today. I was really thinking about something and thought this is an interesting topic. So I want to talk a little bit about language, this gift that God has given us. Now, it's interesting if we think that we hear all the sounds that can be made by the human mouth. And so if we come across someone who speaks another language and they say a word and we repeat what we hear and they say, no, 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 and they repeat it and we're like, that's what I said. And so we repeat it again and they're like, no, 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 no. And they say it again, and we're so confused because we're like, I'm saying what he's saying, but they're telling me no. Well, it's true because there are sounds in other languages that we don't hear. When a baby is born, it has the ability to hear every single sound in every single language. But as time goes on, that's too much information for its brain. And so neural pathways open up to the sounds that it hears around them. And the neural pathways close to the sounds that it doesn't hear because it doesn't need them. And by the time we become an adult, those neural pathways for sounds that exist that we don't need are closed. So when someone says a sound in a different language, our brain jumps to the closest neural pathway we have to it and tells us, this is what I'm hearing. Kind of interesting, huh? That's your trivia for the day about how we hear and how language works. And it's interesting, I think about how, we've come up with putting together different sounds to make a word. And we create words all the time. There were things like a GIF didn't exist a while ago. All sorts of new words exist that we create so that we can communicate with each other. And then even more amazing is at some point someone decided in each culture to make symbols to represent those sounds and put those symbols together to represent words. And we read and we learn how to read. And have you thought of what an incredible gift reading is? And we Christians in America were some of the first to start schools to teach literacy to children, and it should still be foremost in our hearts to teach to read. And why would that be? Well, it's because God gave us his word in a written form. He gave what he wanted us to know to people to write down so we can read it. And if we can't read God's word. I was speaking with a friend this weekend and they were talking about their parent who is struggling with dementia. I went through that with my mom. A lot of you guys have gone through that. And she was talking about, a note she was going to leave for her mom. And she started thinking about how once we start to lose our memory, our faculties, once dementia sets in, we forget so many, many things. It's crazy, all the things we forget. But the one thing that seems to never go away is the ability to read. Once we learn to read, we don't lose that ability to read. We don't forget how to read. Now, there are certain brain injuries that can cause processing issues from the written page to our brain and all of that. But as a general rule, even as we age, we may forget who our children are, our husband is, what I use a fork for. There's so many things that we can forget, but we usually don't forget how to read. And I think this is a gift that God gave us so that even in our most confused, most demented, sad state, we can still read God's word. He gave us a gift beyond measure. And I'm going to say that I take it for granted a lot. Oh, there's a Bible. How many Bibles do you have in your house? We have so many Bibles around our house. They're in motel drawers. They're everywhere. We have all those little tiny ones that Gideons give you. When you have like 20 of them, do you sort of like struggle and search? I think I'm going to throw these away, but I feel really bad throwing a Bible away. But, yeah, it's all rough. We know that God's word's important, but do we know the gift it is. The gift that even at the end of our days, when we can no longer recognize those around us, we can still read God's Word. So take some time to appreciate that today. Read His Word, and I might even put in a plug for support literacy so that everyone can read His Word and have that gift. Okay? Love you guys. Bye-bye.